What's up, guys? Good morning. I wanted to say thank you again for checking out these morning minutes. It's a pretty fun way of getting started with the daily vlogs, and it'll obviously get a lot better as we continue to go on, but I'm actually having fun kind of formulating these thoughts and putting them together for these videos in the morning. I think it'll be some good stuff. So let's get into it. Today's thought is about proving them wrong. And I love this name for a strap. Obviously, it was one of our most popular straps we've done, as an Imperial even as well. The strap itself, if you guys remember, was the design with Orville and Wilbur Wright and their first flight in Kitty Hawk, I think it was. Honestly, I think it's something that the mentality, the prove them wrong mentality, resonates with a lot of people, and for good reason. It's something that sometimes we don't know, like, what the driving factor is, or like what actually is going to motivate us to push forward or to break down boundaries. And I think the idea of having somebody to prove wrong, not necessarily like an enemy or a nemesis or anything like that, but sometimes that's what people refer to it to, right? Like, you need to have somebody that you're like saying, I'm gonna make you eat those words, or I'm gonna make you like realize that you should never have doubted me. And I think to everybody it's like a different motivation. For me, prove them wrong actually was a motivation. It actually came from my dad way back in the day. He got to drive the Corvette in I think it was like the 4th of July or like Memorial Day parade. And did you guys see that? It was a Rolls-Royce Wraith I just drove by. Man, I love this area. It's so cool. Okay, so anyway, my dad drove this Corvette, or he had the Corvette as a demo. He worked at a car dealership, and he had the demo to drive in the parade. And afterwards, I think I was like 16. I had to have been like 16 or maybe 17 at the time. And for those of you who don't know, my first word when I was just a little kid, like Sven's age, maybe a little bit older than Sven, was vet. And my parents still tell me that they would get freaked out because every time a vet would drive by, I'd yell, I'd be like, vet, vet, vet! Kind of like what I did later when I would get excited about shoes, and obviously ends up working out well because that's how Zach Scott started to begin with. So with vet being my first word, obviously I loved Corvettes. I had never actually even ridden in one. Back in the day, like, it wasn't like now with Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff where you can see cars. I mean, it's no big deal to see a Veyron. Like, you can find a picture of one in 2 seconds on Instagram, right? But back then, it was like if you saw a crazy car, it'd be the most mind-blowing experience ever. And in Michigan, growing up, Corvettes were like crazy cars. So my dad had one. Afterwards, we went to my aunt's house for like a little family get together, which was awesome. My aunt was an amazing cook and bomb food. And my dad had the Corvette parked out front, and I was trying to convince him to let me drive. I was like, Dad, please just let me drive down the street. He's like, no, I can't let you do that. I'm not, you're not allowed to. And later he told me it's because of the insurance, but at the time I wasn't hearing it. I was just mad that he didn't trust me to drive it. This was a residential street too. It wasn't like I was trying to take it on the highway or something. I had never driven a Corvette ever, and it was like my dream car. I mean, obviously Lamborghini was ultimately the dream car, but that seemed so incredibly unattainable at that point that the Corvette was the more easily, I guess, semi-easily to attain one in my mind. Anyway, he told me that there was no way I was going to drive, and I got so mad at him, I was like, I swear to you, I'm going to buy a Corvette before you do. And he laughed at me. And I still remember that point so incredibly vividly. I actually have a picture. I think Kara must have found it somewhere. Maybe my mom gave it to Kara. It's a picture of me standing in front of this Corvette that my dad did this whole conversation was about. And I'll try to put it in this video later. But I remember it so vividly because that, to me, was that prove them wrong moment. That moment that my dad, one of the most important people in my entire life, was doubting me. And I think, I mean, my parents had me when they were 18, so it wasn't like it was one of these things where they knew exactly what they were doing when they were raising me, and they knew that was going to motivate me or anything like that, but it did. And even now, I still remind my dad of this, like when he comes out here, that actually was a motivating factor, whether he realized it or not, which I honestly don't think he did. I think there actually just wasn't insurance on the car for anybody else other than him, so it makes sense. But that was the ultimate motivating factor for me. And when I moved out here to California, I moved out here in a piece of junk, like beat up Honda Accord. The transmission blew out on me when I was taking my laundry to the laundromat in Koreatown one time. Like, this thing was a piece, but it got me where I needed to go, and it motivated me when I was out here. And I remember I got my first Corvette. I got a Z06 in 2007 or 2008. There was a 2007 Z06. Then called my dad, and when I called him, it must have been like 1 in the morning, because I just left a message, and I didn't even care if I was waking him up anyway. I left a message with me revving the car as I was driving it back from San Francisco back to LA. I left a message revving the car, being like, I told you I was gonna get one before you, in your face. And to me, it was that prove them wrong mentality, right? Like, I had a nemesis, right? I had somebody that I needed to prove wrong, and I needed to make sure that they knew that I was capable of doing something that they laughed at me about. And in this case, obviously, it was somebody who was very close to me, my father, and that made it even more strong. So this isn't saying that, like, to motivate somebody you should doubt them or you should tell them how much you don't think they can do something, because that's not true at all. It's the idea that as individuals, everybody has different things that motivate them, and we need to have something that pushes us forward. And sometimes it's because we want it ourselves, other times it's because we just want to prove somebody else wrong. And it's such a strong emotion that I think a lot of times gets downplayed, because we don't realize the true power of it until we're already, like, in the moment, right? Like, I'm sure everybody has had somebody laugh at them about something, or everybody tell them that they can't do something, or maybe it's not even that you can't do something, but it's just that, like, you don't fit in, or you're stupid, or you're dumb, like, that you're not, like, attractive, or you're not athletic, or whatever it is. And you get so, at that point, you actually have this choice, right? Like, you can either say, you're right, I am, and accept that and feel bad about yourself, or you can say, no, you know what, I'm gonna, like, these are things that, like, I know I'm better than what you say, and I'm gonna prove it to you. And I mean, the reality is that a lot of times there are haters, right? There's people who are just gonna troll and always say, like, you can't do anything, you're, whatever. And you don't need to even waste time with those people. I'm talking about people who are actually close to you, who are challenging you. You need to figure out for yourself, like, what is your motivation? What is the thing that drives you, that pushes you? And I think that the prove them wrong mentality is a great way to do that. All right, I got to the gym. This was a fun video. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you later.